everyone, and welcome to BookTrib's 15 Minutes with, a Merrill Moss Media production. Today we are thrilled to welcome back New York Times bestselling author Maisey Yates. Maisey writes for Harlequin Presents. She started the popular Copper Ridge series and also the Silver Creek series and a number of others. We last spoke to Maisey about A Christmas Vow of Seduction, and today she's here to chat about The Last Sione Claims His Prize. Now, I might have murdered that title. Did I say it right?
I think you did.
Okay, perfect. We'll go with it. Well, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us again. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the Harlequin Presents The Last Sione Claims His Prize. What's going on in this story? Who are the characters?
Okay, so the Billionaire's Legacy series is an 8-book series that's been running over the course of the past 8 months in the Presents line, all written by different authors. The Last Sione Claims His Prize is, as it sounds, the last book in the series. And it is about my hero, Alessandro, or Alex, as he is called in the book, being sent by his grandfather to track down a lost painting. Which is the last of his missing mistresses, which is what he calls the 8 objects that he had to sell to come to the U.S. So my hero Alex is looking for this painting, and he enlists the help of a young princess from the royal family who had a connection to this painting as well. So it's about Alex and Gabby kind of going off on this undercover. She has a little bit of a reverse, makeover situation. He kind of makes her down so she can play the part of his assistant rather than being a super recognizable princess. Right. She puts the glasses on, basically, instead of taking them off and becoming magically beautiful. She puts them on to disappear. So it's a Clark Kent thing. And he takes her back to her, her family's island that she hasn't been back to in generations. And they go to look for this painting, which her grandmother has a connection to and his grandfather has a connection to. And over the course of that time, they fall in love. And it was just a really fun, kind of slow burn romance to write, because they have a little bit of an age difference, which I really like. And so he's really not immediately attracted to her because she's a little young for him, I guess, that he would think initially. And they have this really fun banter, and they kind of feel off limits to each other, but then they kind of end up attracted to each other, caught off guard by it. And that was really fun to write.
Oh, interesting. Now, you've also got another Harlequin Presents coming in June, The Princess Captive Virgin. What can fans kind of look forward to for that Harlequin Presents?
So that is the first book in my Once Upon a Seduction series, and they're all based on fairy tales. So The Princess Captive Virgin is a Beauty and the Beast story, which is always one of my favorite things to write. It was my favorite cartoon growing up, was the Disney Beauty and the Beast. My dad took me to see it when I was 7, and that was kind of this, I feel like it was formative in some way, obviously.
Right.
And so it was really great to do one that was just straight up based on the fairy tale. And the heroine comes, her father's a paparazzo who's trying to get the first picture of the hero since he was in this horrible accident that left him scarred and killed his wife. And he comes to get the hero's picture, and he ends up being taken captive by the hero and thrown in the dungeon. And the heroine comes to trade places with him, just like in the fairy tale. And so that was, it was just really fun to write. And I hope that it's as fun to read. And there's also a Sleeping Beauty one in that series, and then also a Rapunzel. And
that's exciting.
They were so much fun, yeah.
Well, you must be very excited then for a couple of months for Beauty and the Beast to release.
I am so excited. Whenever I cried when I saw the trailer.
That final trailer was so good.
It's so perfect, and it's Emma Watson, and but I already know that I'm gonna like the Beast pre-transformation best. I think that's the biggest difference. When I write a Beauty and the Beast story, he's still a little beastly at the end, because I was always a little bit when he turned into the prince, I was like, is that it?
All right. Too perfect, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So you do you write a number of books for Harlequin Presents, different series and things. What is it about that particular series that you're drawn to, or you really enjoy writing for?
I think it is the fairy tale aspect. And I love that kind of larger than life hero. And I love the way that the heroine, like he's this all powerful man who seems like he has everything, but at the end of the day, he's missing the most important thing, which is her. Absolutely. And so I love how it's this. People always think that, like, I hear all the time, like, oh, in romance and the heroines are doormats, and that's like absolutely not true at all.
Right.
The hero can't exist without her, and once she comes into his life, he can't live without her, and it's like she'd be all right. So like, I just love that. I love that this all powerful man getting completely bowled over by this woman, often an everyday kind of woman, and I love the kind of high fantasy elements and the real like escapism to it.
Absolutely.
I just love a fairy tale. And I think that this is like that high octane modern fairy tale with sex. So basically it's perfect for me.
So one series I really want to talk about, and it's super popular, is your Copper Ridge series. It's really kind of spread out. You've taken on all different kinds of stories and families. You've got the West, the Donnellys. Can you explain the different stories, how they all work within the Copper Ridge novels in general, and where we are at this point?
Yes, I will try, because I feel like inevitably it gets like super convoluted because everything crosses here, there, and everywhere. Absolutely. But basically, the reason that I chose to break it up into a mini series within the larger series is that I feel like it is so intimidating when you see that there's like 13 books in a series to figure out where to start. So what I wanted was for there to be a few really easy starting points for readers.
Okay.
So that if you wanted to come in at the West family, those books are tied in more tightly to each other. Okay. And you get kind of references to other characters in the world. But if you weren't starting with Part-Time Cowboy, which is the first book in the series properly, you wouldn't be completely lost. So we've got family groupings, and then within that, kind of like the Desire books are more connected to each other. Okay. The novellas are kind of standalone. And so it was basically to make them more accessible to readers who are kind of coming in whenever, to feel like they didn't have to read all 13 books to get to this new one.
Absolutely.
And I just didn't, and so it's a little hard to explain, but like really was to make it less confusing. And then, we have to try and explain how it all connects up, which is kind of circuitous. But basically the family groupings are kind of an easy way to look at it.
Okay.
And try to keep them like, and those are the books that you'll find are like the most tightly tied in. And I still think, they're all complete romances with, it's each their own couples and a happy ending. So any of them can be read as a standalone as well. But then like the Donnelly books will be more tightly grouped with each other than say with the West books, even though there are always like little appearances from the different characters.
What about timeline wise? Is there like a reading order, like book 2 in the Donnellys and then you go to the Wests for book 5 and then back? Is there a reading order, or should you read all of the Wests, all of the Garretts, all of the Donnellys?
The Garretts are first, but I think that if you didn't read them first, like you would definitely get references to their stories and what had happened, but I don't feel like you would be lost. But it is the Garretts, the Wests, and the Donnellys, and then somewhere outside of that timeline exists like the Desires, which fit in a little bit harder to kind of navigate. I would say the HQN books follow more of a line where it's like Part-Time Cowboy, Broke Down Cowboy. Let's see if I can do this. Part-Time Cowboy, Broke Down Cowboy, Bad News Cowboy, One Night Charmer, Tough Luck Hero, Last Chance Rebel, Slow Burn Cowboy, Down Home Cowboy, Wild Ride Cowboy, and Christmas Time Cowboy.
Oh, wow,
so that's
perfect.
HQN yeah. And then that's the Garretts, the Wests, and the Donnellys. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, that's exciting. So the Copper Ridge at this point, where are we moving forward? What are we looking forward to for the next Copper Ridge series books?
Okay, so March 7th, we have, to get it right side up, Seduce Me Cowboy, which is coming out with the Harlequin Desire series. And like I said, these are a little more loosely connected. So while you'll definitely recognize some of the characters in it, they're not tied in as tightly to that main HQN kind of through line. And then April 18th, Slow Burn Cowboy will be out. And that is the first book in the Donnelly's kind of mini series within the Copper.
That right here, actually.
Yes, and it's such a pretty cover.
It is, and that was actually my next question was about your covers. They're so appealing for this Copper Ridge series. They're really warm and inviting and just kind of romantic. Do you
Hmm.
have any final say on what the outcome is or the
I
people
have
used?
Yeah, I have like a wonderful creative mind meld, I think, with Gigi who does the covers, and she
Okay.
is so fantastic. And basically, when we were first talking about what we would do with covers for the series, I said something about Instagram and how I love like an Instagram filter, like that kind of
Okay.
warm glow that you get on an Instagram filter.
Yeah.
And she also follows all my Pinterest boards. So she kind of knew where my head was at in terms of aesthetic, and she just took it and like made it these gorgeous covers. And the cover for Wild Ride Cowboy, which I don't have because I don't have the actual book, which is them kissing in the
Okay.
rain.
Okay.
And it's the most beautiful cover, I think, in existence. And that was really cool because I found a picture of a couple kissing in the rain, and I said, could you do this? Like, what could you make that happen? And they did. They made it happen. It was so great. So I've
It's
had a
amazing.
lot of input on the covers, but it is definitely a
Wow.
lot of me kind of being like, kind of like this thing, but only make it like this. And then they just know how to take that out of my head and make it
Right.
reality and make it better than I could have imagined. So really all glory to them. They're amazing. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, what about anything else that beyond maybe Copper Ridge, or do you have any other new series coming out? What's coming up next, 2017 and beyond?
Um, in 2017, I've got 4 HQN Copper Ridge books out, which is the most I've had in a year, but we're kind of
Yeah,
fitting all the Donnellys in, which is so cool. And
that's
one of them is going
great.
to be a Christmas book, and I'm really excited. Have that in addition to the 2 Copper Ridge Desires. So that is 6 books coming from Copper Ridge in 2017. And
Amazing.
additionally, the Once Upon a Seduction series, which is 3 books with Harlequin Presents. So it's a pretty packed and busy year. And
Yeah.
fortunately for me, most of those books are written.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
I actually think that with the exception of Christmas Time Cowboy, which I am currently editing as we speak, it's here on my desk, they are
Okay.
finished.
Wow, that's so exciting. So then you and your writing schedule goes into 2018 then.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like you've got a nice, you know, little break there or some break at some point, I hope, since you're so far ahead.
No, I
Not
am
at
diving
all.
straight in to the next HQN thing that I am doing, which I'm
Okay.
not sure if I'm allowed to tell you about yet.
All right.
So,
Well, don't,
that,
let's not chance
yeah.
it. Tell us
So
about it next
we'll
time.
tease. We'll tease. Yeah, we'll talk about it eventually. So,
Good.
yeah, I'm going straight forward, straight on into the next thing. That's kind of always what I do, and
Wonderful.
I have my new office to do it in. This is like I'm getting to do my first video in my new office. So,
Well, that's
yeah.
exciting. Yay. We're excited to be virtually in your new
Yes.
office. Well, Maisey, thank you so much for joining us. And the last Sione claims his prize is out. I think it's
It's
out,
out now.
right?
It's out. Should be on shelves and on digital shelves as well. So get
Amazing.
it in
So
Walmart. Get it on the interwebs.
grab a copy. Go out now and
Yeah.
grab a copy. You heard it here. Thank you so much. It was great having you again, and I hope we get to do it again soon.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. You have a great night. Thanks everyone for
Thanks.
watching.
Bye bye.
Bye.